We're here today to talk about Charterstone, which is the Stonemaier Games answer to legacy games, and it has elements that are very much in the kind of the Stonemaier, Jamie Stegmaier DNA, like viticulture. It's a worker placement game, but unlike other games out there, it's also a legacy game at the same time. Now, legacy games themselves, they can be two things. They can be absolutely fantastic and well loved, like Pandemic Legacy or even Clank Legacy, or they can be certain other games as well which maybe had the best of intentions but maybe at the end of the day could have done a lot better. Because it's a legacy game, it's very, very difficult to kind of sit it down in front of the table and show you kind of what everything is about. So we're just going to have a very quick chat. Yeah, that sounds about right. See, the thing is, I don't really want to show you too much about the game. I'm kind of hesitating kind of showing you the board, but you can be certain that because the art's done by Mr. Cunnington, it's absolutely fantastic looking. Each of the player characters that you play as full of their own little identity, which is really, really nice, and everything is rendered beautifully but subtly at the same time. The illustrations for the various buildings that you have, again, have their own little character and are pretty much fit for purpose and stunning at the same time. The thing about Charterstone is, it is about building this and sticking stickers to this. And there's something that's in the extreme joy of, as you're working through, taking yourself and filling in, first of all, the rule book. The rule book's like a Panini sticker album. You've got blank pages in there. And what you're going to be doing is, as you're going to be playing, you're going to be filling in the stickers which are going to be providing extra rules. The boards themselves, there's nothing here. This is how the gate, there's nothing here. This is how, look at that, there's nothing there. But what there is there's an entire box of boxes which have got nothing there. Which is pretty nice and pretty fantastic. What you do have is you've got like an index, and the index itself will contain cards that you look up as you play, which kind of doesn't make sense at the beginning. But as you play, you'll build buildings. As you build buildings, you'll unlock what they call crates, and crates will bring additional mechanics. They'll bring additional little pieces that you can play. They'll bring separate little things that you've got to watch out for as you're playing the game. The story behind it is quite simple. The Forever King has determined that they are wanting to expand the land of Green Gully, and they are looking for you to basically build up your own charter in order to spread civilization kind of far and wide. Or, yeah, it's kind of like that. But there's things further behind that. The nice little thing about it is, everybody that plays the game, they get their nice little box. And the reason for having that is so that you're going to be playing this over about 12 rounds in order to complete the game. And it means that as you play, you want to be playing the same character. You want some kind of people to have a bit of commitment as they play, which in some ways can be difficult in its own way. In some ways, it's a nice way to have like a kind of a happy kind of Sunday afternoon, just going ahead and playing the game as you go. It's not particularly taxing at the beginning, at the very beginning. As time goes on and you're opening up more and more of the index cards and you're opening up more and more of the mechanics, the certain things will come into play. It'll not just be a case of placing a worker and carrying the action. You might have to carry out certain kind of things, and as you go, you'll have to make certain decisions as you're playing the game. I'm being very, very cagey about this, aren't I? I'm not kind of committing to an exact description, and that's one of the beautiful things behind Charterstone, and also one of the terrible things behind Charterstone as well. Let me explain why. Because it comes down to this. At the end of the day, I know this rulebook's going to get filled up. I know this board is going to be full of stickers. Each of the charters is going to be full up, and each of them is going to be providing resources or providing reputation or providing victory points. These lovely individual packed crates, they're all going to be opened. There's going to be additional components. There's going to be additional mechanics. You are going to end up with a wholesome, full omelette, which you can chow down on again and again and again. And that's the vision of Charterstone. That was the aim for Charterstone, was that you would be constructing your own legacy game. Where the issue comes into it is that the various ingredients unlock as you go, and you can sometimes have very little choice of the order in which those ingredients kind of unlock. So you might end up, using the analogy, you might end up unlocking the spring onions, the milk and the cheese. Now, if you're looking to make an oniony, cheesy sauce, it's fantastic, but if you're thinking you're getting an omelette, you're a bit gravely mistaken. Example was that within the first couple of rounds of the games that we played, one of the characters, one of the players, managed to unlock a mechanic which, to all intents and purposes, we believed was broken, overpowered beyond measure. It got to the fact that I actually checked several forums and groups and places like that just to see if we were correct, and it turns out that we were wrong. It was meant to be like that. It was meant to be, that mechanic was meant to play out until round whatever in the game, and then everything would kind of like uneven out. But obviously for people where they are considering running a campaign at Charterstone, for some people it's a case of, I'm going to commit myself to potentially 3 months of this, or I could be committing myself to potentially 3 or 4 weekends of this in order to play the game through, and they're hoping that they're enjoying it, so it can kind of give people a bit of the heebie-jeebies. The other thing is as well is that the rule book, because it's drip fed through these stickers, is that and this is a kind of, in some ways it's a hindrance, in some ways it's absolutely lovely, is that there's no way, there is a watch it played video out there, but it's on how to play the base game. It doesn't go into kind of like anything over and above the kind of the stuff that you're going to be unlocking as you play, which is fair enough. But for some people who want to know what's kind of going on, there's almost a case where you're kind of, if you accelerate, if you try and go too fast, if you try and guess, then you end up kind of going, oh, this isn't working, this logically does not make sense, why this does not make sense, until you realise that you get to the bottom of that rule card and it says, okay, go and open this rule card, and you pick that card out and you realise that actually, oh, it does fix itself, it does make kind of everything right. So for some people who are very much like to learn about a game before they play it and dive in, the patience side of things, the knowledge, the need to try and strategize might kind of mess a little bit with other people's heads. But the wonderful thing about it is that if you're sitting down and playing with a regular group, you're going on that journey together, that you're kind of you're unwrapping these rules as you go. You're learning together how it plays, the strategies. You can see the eureka moments on people's faces as they realise that now that this particular piece has been unlocked, or now this particular mechanic's been unlocked, they can do X, Y, and Z, and that can bring the balance back. So there's always these little things are coming on. So going back to the ingredients, yeah, you end up unlocking the bacon, you end up unlocking the eggs, you end up unlocking the mushrooms, you end up unlocking, different cheeses, spices and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden the end game kind of omelette starts to look an awful lot more kind of tastier, which for that kind of then switches it back the other way. It's a very, very difficult game to. I've never played a game that just so much your mileage may vary, because my experience on this is potentially going to be a hugely different to your experience, and that's what makes Charterstone kind of very unique in its own way, very different in its own way. And I guess that's the same with any other kind of legacy game as well. But yeah, still being cagey. So, should you jump in and buy it? And the answer is yes. And the answer is also no. It's a middle ground, because it's really, really difficult for me to recommend something where I don't know the path you're going to go down, but also at the same time, it's one of these things that if you haven't experienced a legacy game and you're not wanting to do the pandemic thing, and you're not maybe wanting to do the Clank thing, or you're not wanting to do the Seafall thing or anything like that, then with the way it presents itself, maybe this is the one that you should be diving into. It's out there, it's available, and there's still people talking about it. Interestingly enough, if you want to dip your toe into the water, and maybe you're not too fussy about the kind of the spoilers, or you just want to try it for yourself, there's a digital version you can try, which you can get and sample it and see again if you get the full experience of unlocking the crates, unlocking the mechanics, except the rules were obviously taken care of by the AI. So if you're not sure of that side of things, it's potentially worthwhile a look. It's difficult. It's such a your mileage may vary kind of game, and because of that, because it's that kind of game, it's maybe I have to say it's worth a try. I'm still fascinated by it. I'm still fascinated about how it's going to play in the long term. About what would happen is if I bought a recharge pack. Would I play things differently? Would I with the knowledge that I have? Would I play a different strategy from the beginning? And because of that, Charterstone kind of deserves its place where it is, and it deserves its supporters and its detractors at the same time. What a middle of the road kind of review, but that's where you are. It is kind of like the omelette, but it's kind of like the omelette that takes a long time to cook, and it requires a bit of patience and a bit of understanding, and maybe somebody who is happy to kind of be fed the instructions a bit at a time. If that's you, then this is certainly something you should consider adding to your collection. If you're not sure, then dive into the digital and see if that is maybe something that floats your boat, especially if you've potentially not got an awful lot of people you can play with. But anyway, thanks for watching. My name's Richard. This is We're Not Wizards. Remember, stay safe, roll sixes, make something awful, and if you like what you've watched, consider dropping us a subscription. But until the next time, goodbye.